everybody, one of Weezem here. We've got Power Blue Trigger Happy on the Portal of Power. We just took the Made for the Spotlight path with Double Dare Trigger Happy. Why did I do that, you ask? When I was looking through these in the game, to me, Made for the Spotlight suited the aesthetics of Double Dare Trigger Happy better, particularly Payday. And then Cannon Crash kind of sounded like quintessential Trigger Happy, nostalgic Trigger Happy to me. So I decided to let him take that path. It has like that sort of like nostalgic pull. If you know this is your first game, you probably won't care. If you've been playing since SSA, you'll probably kind of be like, oh yeah, he's right about that. You know, that's sort of, I could see Trigger Happy doing those things, you know. The path really wasn't that great. I mean, where it came up short, in my opinion. We'll analyze it right now at the start. Cannon Crash does pretty decent damage. It's got the hilarity, the cartoon sound effect, and everything going for it. That's cool. Payday is awesome, and I think it's going to be very beneficial now, since we've already fully upgraded the guy and done his quest and everything. It's not that big of a deal for me. But if you come in and do that while you're playing with him, working towards getting him cash or something, it will come in very handy. The downside, Payday is built off of Crowd Pleaser, your box stock secondary attack. It does 34-51, has a range of just outside of the character, right? What you get with Payday is the exact same thing. 34-51, and the range has not changed. Now, but the benefit there then is now when you trigger that, if you've got, you know, food or cash or something, you know, anywhere in the vicinity, it's going to hone in on you, almost like you were jet vac pulling it in or something. That could be beneficial, particularly in tough areas where the food will keep you alive, essentially. It doesn't work with wish stones. I don't know if XP works. I would think yes, but we'll have to test it. So that's its benefit. Where its downfalls are, it still does 34-51, which you had since he was box stock. Not base upgrade, but box stock. Okay? That, in my opinion, should have jumped even just to 36-54. 40-60, I feel, would have been ideal with that attack. The other thing, if they want to keep it 34 or do a slight increase, I think the radius of the attack should have increased at least to double what it is now, because it's basically just on your shoulder blade. You know, if you were to stand with your arms out in like a cartwheel position or something, that sort of jumping jack, I should say. I guess cartwheel would work there too. But stand with your arms and legs spread, and that's like the radius. If they just extended that like another arm's length or something, that would have been acceptable, but we got nothing on that front. Making it rain, the issue I have there, it's really cool, it's fun, it's classic Trigger Happy, but there's no increase in damage. So we're shooting at 16-24 thanks to the base upgrade. Just warming up, I believe, is which one it was. Box stock 13-19, base upgrade 16-24. Making it rain, you jump up in the air and you just shoot down on enemies. It's limited in time to basically 8 shots, but there's no damage increase. There's no knock up of the enemy. It's not 20-30, it's 16-24. So Payday and Making It Rain, while they're awesome and hilarious and classic Trigger Happy, they don't really offer us much. Cannon Crash again plays into the classic Trigger Happy, comical, fun, but it is packed with a good damage number. So Payday and Making It Rain, in my opinion, both would have benefited from an increase in damage, however slight, and Payday in particular with an increased damage radius. I still like Payday because of its potential, but that's just my thoughts on that. So that said, now that you kind of know how I feel about that path, assuming you didn't watch the video, let's take Power Blue down Spontaneous Performer. So obviously this would be ideal if the fire hoops were blue, in my opinion. I'm big on aesthetics, but this is kind of like the new SuperCharged Trigger Happy. And so I felt like down here with Made for the Spotlight, that those 3 upgrades, regardless of what they turned out to do or how wonderful or horrible they were, I just picture standard Double Dare on that path. And so since this is kind of new and tied in with like the hoops and things he hasn't had in the past, I kind of associated that more with Power Blue. So that's my logic. Again, I'm interested in what you think. Assuming you have both characters, or if you had both characters, both versions of Trigger Happy, which path would you give him and why? Feel free to comment down below. But Spontaneous Performer, upgrade your hoops and cause spectacular explosions. That's a lie, we have Skylander Tutor. So, if this path turns out to suck, we can switch. If it's fantastic, we can switch Double Dare. In all honesty, I'm probably going to keep them as is, just because, you know, that's the beauty of the Alt Deco, right? You can have them both available instantaneously. So, keep in mind, Tin Wing Sapphire's 20% discount. We've got Hot Feet Hoop up first for $13.60. Hold X to charge up and shoot out a fire hoop, so we know about that. Jumping or shooting yourself through it causes it to explode. We know about that. And that will cause you to gain increased movement speed. Now, in Roller Brawl and several other videos, I've complained about not seeing an increase statistically to armor or speed or critical hit. This is like the Stealth Elf example I gave with Circle Slash. If you use it and hit enemies, you get the speed boost. If you come in and jump through the hoop, you get a speed boost. I'm fine with that not being materialized. I think his speed was, what, like 50? I don't need to see it increase to 55 or 60. I just know that it's a temporary deal. Now, if this was a deal where Hot Feet Hoop, you know, and Trigger Happy gets increased speed, and it was across the board, I want to see 50 physically change statistically to 60 or 55 or whatever it is. But that said, this actually kind of makes sense, and it could do increased damage. It's not likely though, because I've grown to not expect it, but sometimes they don't advertise really cool things. So anyway, let's see, where did we first pick those up? Hoop and Holler, I think is where they started. 50 to 75, the hoops last roughly 5 seconds, and then 20 to 30 on the moving hoop. So yeah, that's about it. Again, been a while since we upgraded Double Dare Trigger Happy, so I'm kind of refreshing myself here. What we want to look for is if we get 50 to 75, or we get something more than that. 50, so no increase. Note the oh, he is a much quicker, but it wore off already, so no increase in damage. That's a little disappointing, not gonna lie. But let's figure out how long we've got this. 1 Mississippi, 2 Mississippi, 3 Mississippi, 4 Mississippi, 5 Mississippi, 6 Mississippi, 7. 7 seconds, you want to call it that? Yeah, I'm going to call it 7 seconds. So, 7 second speed boost after jumping through hoop. And I assume we can shoot ourselves through it too. Let's find out, just for good measure. Whoops. Oh, everything went wrong there. Okay, so obviously that would have been great had we shot the hoop out. I'm doing Nintendo buttons. This is what happens after Smash Day Sunday. Yeah, 7 seconds. So I thought maybe there was a chance the cannon would give us like a longer speed boost. Not the case. Both of them 7 seconds. At least according to my unofficial timer. So you get the idea there. So same attack damage number though. Not cool. We'll log that. Even though you don't technically need to, it's just, to me, that's kind of like, hey, look, he's disappointed. So, alright, up next we have Acrobatic for $17.60. Hold X while jumping to charge up your fire ring and jump through it. This could be interesting, I have to say. So X is our primary attack here. So this is another multitasking thing. thing though, so it might be awkward for some people, but it's potentially good, I guess. Alright, so hold X while jumping to charge up your fire ring and jump through it. Okay, let's see what we can do. So that's our jump, right? We can still shoot. We can spin around and shoot. We can jump and trigger that. But now we can supposedly hold X while we jump, which he's not in the air very long, as you see there, but let's see what happens. Okay, so I was wondering how they were going to pull that off, and that is our answer. It's almost like he's on a live wire or something. Was that 75 critical, I think? So it's kind of a slow attack, ironically. You would think it would be faster, but let me see, how long do I have to hold that? It's about like a 3 to 4 second issue. We'll go ahead and call it 4. So hold 4 seconds, 50 to 75 ground pound is what I'll call that. And again, I've got to change these stupid, I've got all the high volt stuff. 1 second, it bothers me too much. So hot feet hoop was up first, then we had acrobatic that we just logged, and then after that we had fire and forget, and that is all part of the spontaneous performer, not the high volt equivalent of that. So fire and forget is up next. Let's see what it is going to offer.
Hello, extremely once again. So happy.
2,400 is the price. When you charge up your cannon, you'll shoot out a fire ring in front of you to burst. Okay, so that is very practical, I have to say, because it's kind of tedious to actually shoot out a fire ring, run back, you know, shoot out your cannon, line it all up, try not to take him too much damage, you know, type of a thing. So let's go ahead and buy that. Alright, so now the cannon, we're running into some issues here where we're not really increasing much damage, but 54 to 81 was standard. 45 there. So that was 54 and 20. The 54 is standard, you know, like charged cannon damage. And then the 20 was from the ring that was moving out. So I think we were like too close to the target. Let's try to do it from here. That logged, obviously, us exploding the ring. And then we get the increased speed, which is cool. I'm trying to see if the 20 is registering when we're back far enough away. It'll be a different number because that's charged now. I think it is. So, alright, fire and forget. You have the cannon, 54 to 81, which is, again, the standard number from the base upgrades. Ring is going to be 20 to 30, and the explosion also didn't increase, 50 to 75, and then of course speed after because of hot feet hoops. So wow, this is a character that had an awful lot of potential. And I think he's actually pretty built just off of the base upgrades. Something I would have loved to have seen on either one of these paths is just the 16 to 24 increase. I think that could have been a kind of a big deal. Jeez. I'm kind of thinking on a personal level I might prefer Made for the Spotlight better. Payday's cool. The cannon up into the air is funny, but it does really good damage. Yeah. The issue I have here, it's just like at the start of the video I told you why Payday wasn't as good as it could be, and that was, of course, no increase in damage, no increase in radius. Then I told you why making it rain wasn't as good as it could be, and that is, of course, because there was no increase in the damage. Hot feet hoop, 7 seconds, okay, you know, that's okay, fine. You know, I like speed, I'll deal with that. Acrobatic is actually pretty cool, however, it takes way longer than I thought it would. You know, when you like get right down to it. Fire and forget, very practical. You know, you don't have to like multitask to do all of that. You know, fire the ring, set up your cannon, aim the cannon, fire through the hoop before it disappears. Very practical on that level. But we didn't get an increase, and we didn't get like an increased range. I, in all honesty, would have been fine with the cannon and the ring damage staying the same. Moving ring is what I mean by that, the 20 to 30. I do think the explosion should have increased when you have that instantaneous, but I mean right here we're gonna do it. Well, no, we're not. Let's actually, this is what you'd have to do on the other path. Shoot your hoop, get in your cannon, shoot it out, right? Now we can just do that, shoot ourselves through a hoop. I'm trying to see if we can have 2 of them now. I'm kind of curious. There's the first ring. I'm gonna shoot ourselves. I didn't see the damage from it, but it's tough to say, man. It's on this dilemma here, which path is superior. It's really gonna come down to what you personally prefer. The speed is awesome. This is actually pretty cool. It's this and Cannon Crash are kind of like the practical ones. This right here, I think, is worthwhile. It sort of compares with the speed, really, in terms of like its rank. And then High Flying Volley is cool. Yeah, I mean, it's about even, I would say, but I would personally be inclined to go with the bottom path, which is again made for the spotlight. If you're a veteran of the series, you'll probably agree with me. If you're kind of new, SuperChargers is your first foray into the series. You don't have like that established connection with Trigger Happy. You might find something different. You might prefer the speed, you know, an acrobatic or something might really appeal to you. But to me, this right here, Payday, is kind of just cool, you know. No increase in damage, no increase in radius, but I like what it does for us. And this is kind of like the heavy hitter. This is sort of the heavy hitter in this case, and then you do get the speed, which I like, but it's just like, I mean, Roller Brawl's path, Brawler Derby, was amazing across the board. These are kind of just like, oh, well, it could have been so much better if, and I feel like we're saying that on each and every one of them. And on top of improving what's here, there's actually things I would have done differently for Double Dare Trigger Happy that I think would have sort of suited him better. But I don't know. I won't go into it because it's a moot point. But this is honestly just, it's going to be personal preference, really. I don't know that one really shines better than the other. Your playstyle might influence a little bit. It's not going to be super critical in the choice. The Soul Gem's not going to be impacted by one path or the other. So I don't know. You know, it's nothing is clear and concise in my opinion. But after you debate it and go through all the rhetoric and everything, it's sort of just which do you really prefer or think you would have more fun with, and go with that and you'll be fine. So right here is the Soul Gem. He's safe for 3,200. Once, this is so weird of a wording, I'm not even gonna bother. Basically, you can die and come back. So there you go. Now, it is a situation, I don't know if you come back at full health or whatnot exactly, not sure on the particulars. We'll have to go in-game and try to sort through that. But what we will do now is try to highlight, if we can, all of this stuff. And so, Hot Feet Hoop, we'll just go ahead, and that's kind of hard to even think of how to... There's that. I'm gonna lure him over. Jump through there, and now I can just run around from him faster, or go to food because I don't have payday. Whatever we want to do. After that, what do we have? I'm going to try to read and also evade this guy at the same time. Acrobatic, right? Isn't that what we had? Perfect timing. I have to say, it's kind of weird how long that takes. To me, if Make It Rain, you know, when he fires down bullets upon your enemies from the other path made for the spotlight, if we had this kind of a runtime for that, it would be great. Now, this is something I didn't notice. You can sort of move, not very far, but I mean, you can kind of size it up if the enemy moves or you realize you're sort of off-center, so that's cool. And then lastly, we would have, what's Fire and Forget. Let's kill one, which that'll sort of be hard. We're in the cannon. Dun-dun-dun. Multiple damage. We have to then set it up. Now keep in mind, in a normal situation, you know, you don't have to think, oh, we can't shoot the Greeble off the platform or he'll disappear. It's just one of those things where, you know, you would kill the enemy, you would shoot him off the edge of the world, something. Oh, hey, and that works towards our quest number 1. Again, we've done all that stuff with standard double dare, power blue, obviously. We are making progress on. So, Soul Gem, again, I can't really showcase to you, but again, ultimately, despite the path not really being like the most magnificent things I've ever seen and not having one far superior to the other, Made for the Spotlight, again, is just like classic, lovable, trigger-happy, quintessential Skylander. It's just this nutty dude that was dreamed up, and he's tons of fun to play as. Spontaneous Performer, I feel like it sort of caters more towards the supercharged element, like the new powers, the hoops, and everything. It really just, what do you like better? And that's what you would go with. But for me, the main thing here and why I'm not like too totally bummed out, how am I going to use Trigger Happy? He's got a cannon, he's got this attack, you know, which Payday will actually be very practical there, which is another reason. But how do I kill enemies with Trigger Happy? This is what I do. I spam the primary attack. Now, the primary attack was last upgraded in the base upgrades, and it's only doing 16. The 24 to 36 is like a technical deal. It's tech element boost or something. So 16, 24, and you're like, man, that is a shame that they didn't upgrade it past the base upgrade increase. Here's the thing, though, okay? So I realize it's 16, 24, 24, 36, whatever. But he doesn't shoot it off like that, right? He shoots it off like this. And it's spammable, and you can run around, and it's fantastic. And so, what will I do when I play as Trigger Happy? I'm probably, if I get in vines or get bored, I'll do that. I'll jump through hoops, I'll get the speed boost, I'll fire off, I'll retreat, I'll go back. I'll make use of it in that manner. I also truly believe I will use his secondary attack quite a bit. And of course, down Made for the Spotlight, that'll kind of bring in food and cash to me, so that's just sort of an added perk. But that's the way I'm going to play as him. The cannon I'll do from time to time, you know, for kicks and giggles, but for me personally, it's still all about the golden guns, or the firecrackers, I guess, as they're known in this game. But that's why I'm not like totally bummed or nagging on it more than I am, because I realize how I play. After, you know, 4 previous games, each game I've used Trigger Happy the same way. You know, infinite ammo, the Soul Gem for his, you know, tertiary attack, which was the machine gun. How often did I use that? Not very, because this. I mean, and I know you're like, man, but that, you know, doesn't do much damage. You could be doing 70 to 105 with the cannon crash. What are you, crazy? You could jump up and use Acrobatic and get 50. Let me explain this real quick. 16, 16, 16, 16. That was 80, okay, 5 times. So 16 twice is 32, 3 times 48, 464, 580, 696. Alright, so it's one of those deals, it's quantity, not quality. And in this case, quantity is quality. Because it adds up. And it's so much quicker and more efficient. I'm experienced with it. And that's where these two paths, which I feel could have been way better, even with simplistic tweaks to what they have, let alone what I personally would have done for Double Dare Trigger Happy. But the bottom line, he's going to be fun to play. I'm primarily going to use his primary attack. The other stuff is just kind of there for kicks and giggles and, you know, spice it up a little bit if I get bored. The Soul Gem is actually very cool and practical. Again, trigger happy, little guy, low initial health, classically through the game anyway. Sort of like along the lines of an Undead Element character. But I just think it's sort of a fun tribute type thing to him, you know. So those are my thoughts. Again, which path should you take? What's my ultimate definitive opinion? Whichever one you think is going to be more fun. Which, if one suits your playstyle better, go for it. Nothing changed aesthetically that was a deal breaker. For me personally, I do feel like Made for the Spotlight will be more practical and suits my playstyle a little better. But they honestly even out roughly about the same. So I feel like they left a lot on the table, and there are some things I would have done differently, but it's going to be fun. I'm still going to primarily use the even if I could custom tailor the upgrade, well, I shouldn't say that, but because I have some pretty sweet ideas. But even with me having full control over the upgrade paths and what they contained, I'd still probably find myself doing this because it's what I've done for 5 years now, and I've not gotten tired of it. So anyway, I am interested in what your thoughts are on this guy. Again, sorry for kind of rambling, but neither of these is like a really great path, and neither one is really bad. They're just kind of different ways to have fun with Trigger Happy, in my opinion. So I want to know which path you would take, which one you prefer. Is there one that you love and one that you hate? If you've got both of the characters, which path did you assign to Standard Double Dare, and which path did you assign to Power Blue, and why? Do you kind of follow my logic with Payday and Made for the Spotlight sort of fitting Double Dare, and then Spontaneous Performer being sort of like the new attacks, if you will, suiting Power Blue better? I am interested in that. It would have been really crazy cool if like the gun rings and the hoops and everything would have been color coordinated, but that would honestly be like a whole lot of work, so I totally understand why that isn't there. But I have to say, nonetheless, Power Blue looks awesome. We've got both paths on tap because of the alt deco, and it's just, he's a fun character regardless, and now we can die and come back, so it works out very well. Again, very night shiftish if you started in Swap Force or have experience there. But once again, for myself and the Trigger Happy duo, Power Blue in this case being our featured character, thanks so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this episode of Skylanders Research. If you did, leave a like. Your support is much appreciated. You can follow me on Twitch, follow me on Twitter, like me on Facebook, circle me on Google, plus whichever you prefer. Once again, thanks for watching. I will catch you back here for more Skylanders SuperChargers Research.